One of the hardest parts about living in California for me is that ever since I moved here, I've developed allergies worse than I ever had. And I don't know if it's because, I should edify that statement, I don't know if it's because I'm allergic to California or because with age my body has adjusted to different things. But I'm at that point right now where I woke up this morning and it was like my sinuses were just on fire. My throat was a little sensitive. My nasal passages were blocked. So you just go to that medicine aisle and find the box that has all the symptoms, and you're like, this one, I'll take that. And so I'm dealing with it. Small price to pay for life in California. Lately, I've been trying to be. I don't know. Like, this is gonna be one of those videos where, like, I didn't prepare, and I had some ideas again, and yeah, well, let's see where this goes. Lately, I've been trying to be a healthier version of myself, and to eat less processed foods, and to try and cut back on breads and cheeses, and to increase my intake of fruits and vegetables. And all of that sounds pretty normal. You know, it's stuff I should have been doing a long time ago, and I understand that. Stuff that should just come naturally, but for some reason it hasn't. I mean, for the longest time, the only things I've been drinking are water and coffee. I barely ever drink anything else, unless liquor, but even lately I haven't been drinking beer or liquor. So I've just been trying to, be a healthier version of myself, and it comes with like these weird complications of like not knowing sometimes if I'm eating enough, because I've become oddly subconsciously sensitive to what I'm taking in, and so I'll be like, no, I'm not gonna eat that today. I'll wait until I have access to something healthier or something that like cleaner. Guys, cleaner. Am I becoming that person that refers to food as cleaner? I found that for a while, obviously, I mean, I hope I'm not speaking to a bunch of people who are like, oh man, like I don't know what you're talking about. But for a while, the word diet struck a chord with me, and trying to tackle a diet head on always kind of came with like a weird sense of, I know I'm gonna fail at this. I know this is a lost cause. I'm gonna slip up. And I've recognized recently that like it doesn't have to be about that. You know, that like there can be moments where you have food to enjoy food, where you eat to enjoy the flavor of something, but just to be able to sort of not devour everything in sight, not feel like I have to eat through an entirety of a meal if if I don't want to. Because for a while I was the person if the food's in front of me, I would eat it. As long as it was good. So trying to cut back on those things and trying to find a way to I was gonna say to measure, but I'm not really measuring anything, because I don't know that I would be good at measuring calories. Although I probably should, because sometimes I feel like when I get in this headspace right now, I feel like I maybe am not eating enough. That maybe I'm not taking in enough caloric intake, and maybe that's something I should be concerned with and paying attention to. But I've been trying to eat a lot more fruit and fish and vegetables rather than meats and breads and cheeses. For the last couple of weeks, it's sort of kind of come naturally in a very weird way. There's this fly. Can you hear the fly? Is the fly audible? There's a fly trying to get out the window, and there's something about the sound of a fly constantly hitting glass. It's like, oh, that's sad. And so I opened the door hoping to get him out. There he is. Hey bud, I opened the door for you. Okay. Well, the end goal is that I just want to be a healthier version of myself. I feel my body getting older. I know that like age isn't going backwards. I know that as I move further and further into into those numbers, that I should really be concerned about intake, and that like I should be focused on what I'm consuming, how much of it I'm consuming, when I'm consuming it, and trying to sort of combat cravings and not really necessarily give in to cravings, as easy as that is sometimes. But why is it so hard? I think I'm baffled by this part. As a human being, you would think, why does my body allow me to have these cravings that are so unnatural? Why am I not naturally wired for good things, like good cravings, like give me more vegetables? Why is that such a challenge? And I'm fascinated by that. I'm earnestly fascinated by it because lately, my vegetable intake has been a lot higher, and I don't really know why I'm admitting any of this. I don't know. This feels a little bit like therapy, I guess, because I was having a moment today where I felt hungry, and I was like, oh, like what am I gonna eat? And I started to feel a little guilt with that because I had a leftover half of a sandwich, and I was like, oh, that has both bread and cheese. And so standing in my room right now, talking to myself, it just feels good to kind of to exercise these words. I don't know. I've been eating more vegetables than normal, more than like even like when I was a little kid, I was like a really picky eater, and for the longest time, like I didn't. I hated like broccoli and asparagus and cucumbers and pickles, and lately, like I am eating these things without any hesitation, and I can't tell if it's like subconsciously just me making this decision, or if it's my body's way of being like, nope, we need this and we're gonna work it in. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what my point is. I'm just sort of at a point in my life where I've recognized that for a while I maybe wasn't paying enough attention to these details and wasn't taking solid care of what I was feeding my body, and I'm trying to be better at it. I'm trying to get to a point where I can feel good after I eat rather than feeling like, oh God, like it's that feeling again. I ate too much of the bad stuff. Ate too much of the bad stuff, and now I'm gonna pay for it. That's normal, right? Am I rambling? As a child, like I remember being a very stubborn eater. I remember having very specific taste buds and very specifically not liking many condiments at all, liking everything plain. And that persisted for a long time. And like no matter how hard my mom tried to get me to eat vegetables, like I always just kind of fought her on it. I used to hate the smell of spinach. But now like I get spinach on pizza, and that's like such a weird, like, who am I sort of moment. I used to fight my mom forever on just tiny tastes or the flavor of things, or just not wanting, too many. Like, I just wasn't a kid who liked flavor. And even now, I mean, I've lived here for 12 years, so I've been away from my parents for a while. But even now, my mom sort of forgets things that I like and don't like. So when I go home, there's like confusion sometimes because she's like, "Oh, I removed this because I know you don't like it," and I'm like, "Oh, that was so 15 years ago." I've been eating a lot of acai bowls, which is something I never thought I would do or say. I never thought I would be a person who would say those words, but here we are, 2017, and I've been eating a lot of blended fruit bowls with like bananas and strawberries and blueberries and acai and a whole bunch of superfoods and proteins and vitamins and bee pollen and honey, and there was a point in my life where those things wouldn't satisfy me, where I never thought that I could be satisfied by eating a bowl of fruit. And lately, I have found that ability, and I don't know where it's coming from, but it's making me feel a little bit better about myself. So, yeah.